What's up, everyone? Welcome to the 525th episode of the Pokemon Podcast. It's super effective. I'm your host, Steve. With me is Will.
I almost started crying last night because I couldn't find the 29-inch cord for my size 6 circulars, so that'll just let you know where my state of mind is right now. It's carried over.
What?
Yeah. You gotta, if you don't know, you don't know.
But if you know, you know.
You know. I have so many cords, and I just couldn't find that one cord.
Karina is also here. Hello.
Hi, I'm back, Karina, aka Pengumon, if you know me as that. Continuing your streak of having almost PhDs on your show.
Oh, well, then you're Dr. Karina.
Not yet.
No, we grant the PhD as long as you're in the program. Here, you're a doctor just for trying.
Can you write to my faculty head and let them know?
That I cannot do, especially since it's like not a U.S. Accredited institution. Man,
well,
if
I appreciate
only
the thought.
if it had been what's the Eastern? I think it's Eastern states are accrediting. Like if only you had fallen into that realm. What are you getting your degree in?
Cognitive neuroscience.
My favorite! All right, we're having a cognitive neuroscience episode this week. Let's talk about neurons, brain areas, and the way that language is formed. Let's go into Broca's area and Pokemon.
Great.
Steve just checked out again.
You just had to listen to us talk about yarn for like 10 minutes before finally starting the podcast, and we've already derailed it.
And now we're going to talk about neuroscience. I know some fantastic neuroscientists.
Great.
The long con of the show is to get a bunch of people smarter than me to then just replace me. And then the show is nothing but doctors and
highly educated people talking about Pokemon.
Correct. That's not me. But we do have Pokemon news. There was a big 20-minute Pokemon Presents that happened on Wednesday. It had a bunch of mobile games. And then it had I think it was like 9 minutes of Scarlet and Violet. And we're going to do the non-traditional approach here. We're going to start the Scarlet and Violet stuff first, and then we'll save all the smaller stuff for afterwards. There's a lot to go through. That's kind of why I was like, let's just do it first, just in case the show runs real long. So, gosh, where do we start? I guess we'll go through the press release. The press release will take us the order.
That's always a good guide, yes.
We will do. So it says, welcome to Paldea. I think I'm saying that right. I believe I'm saying that.
I'm so disappointed. That is not the name that I gave to this region.
Players will start their adventure in the Paldea region, a land of vast open spaces dotted with lakes, towering peaks, wastelands, and mountain ranges. Players will find a lot of people and Pokemon living in a variety of locations, ranging from a farming village with bountiful harvests to a port town with a bustling market. There are also Pokemon living on treetops, rivers, and other locations in the wilderness. In the center of Paldea sits the largest city. I actually didn't see anyone talk about this. Maybe because no one reads the press release, and they didn't even talk about it in the trailer. But it's called Messagoza. It is here where players will either find the Naraja Academy, which I think is Spanish for
Naranja, yes.
Yeah, perfect.
I
Great.
like Narja. I vote for that pronunciation.
Naranja.
It really rolls off the tongue.
I just said it twice. Naranja. Come on. It's not that hard.
And then Uva. So it's the Nara is orange, right? And then Uva is grape.
Yes.
Or
you can do it. Naranja. Although nobody says R except for English speakers.
Naranja.
There you go.
In Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the name of the schools, its emblem, and its uniforms, and other details will differ depending on which version of the game is played. The Pokedex will also be loaded on the Rotom phone as an app. Classic copy and paste. We don't even get a new Rotom. They're just giving us the phone again. Players will be able to see the entire map of the Paldea region in the map app, which will also show their current location. I love I love how this is like a sentence because this was such a huge complaint in Sword and Shield. Like there is no map and I don't know where I am in this map. Players will also see all kinds of information like nearby towns, Pokemon centers, and wild Pokemon. Okay, that's the first part of the press release. So I guess we'll start there. The world looks cool. It's very colorful compared to Legends, and it does give me Legends vibes of, the panning over the camera and seeing the Pokemon in the area. But I would love to hear your guys' thoughts.
I do like the pretty colors a lot. I feel like 90% of what sways me to get a game or not is like whether the colors are pretty, and the colors in this game are very pretty, so I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially for the outside of town areas that you're going to have that more, I don't know if it's like more oil painting or more watercolor art style for your surroundings, where you're not going to get like sharp edges and things like that. But definitely, bright colors and I don't know, it's more of like a mood.
How did you guys feel? Oh, I was gonna say, how did you guys feel about the guy narrating the trailer? I guess is the name. His name was Clavel, I think. The Academy, the director of the Academy, Clavel.
Is this the old guy that was like talking to you? The old guy that was not a professor. I'm like, so how does do we know how this game works? So it seems like you're like a student in a school, and the reason that you're like exploring this region is for homework. Is that correct? And then
there's the three stories, right? Yeah. So that's one of the stories. But it's the treasure hunt is your. Wait, they actually said it in the trailer. They said it's it's like field study maybe is the term that they use, something like that. But independent study.
Okay.
That's what it was.
I mean, like they did say there are 3 stories, which like I like rolled my eyes because like I don't think it's actually 3 stories in the sense of like what we've already done in Pokemon games, right? Like you in Red and Blue, you could argue that there are 2 stories. One story is defeating Team Rocket and Giovanni. The other story is trying to be like champion. Mm-hmm. And now just like literally apply that to every game. So is this just? They already said one of the stories, becoming champion. They said get 8 gym badges. They said that is a story. It's like, okay, well, that's in every Pokemon game. And then another story they said is the treasure hunt, which is that like figuring out what the thing in the middle of the map is, because that's probably the most ambiguous thing, is this giant swirly middle of the map, probably mythical / legendary Pokemon in there. But isn't that also, like, if you look at Sword and Shield, the credits roll, you become champion, you've defeated the bad guys, and then there's another story of catching either Zacian or Zamazenta. And then the story that's in literally every Pokemon game is there's a bad guy team that has nothing to do with champions, except for, I guess, Black and White. They kind of merge that. Defeat bad guys. So is that the 3 stories? Did I just like name them all out, or is the the third story magically like rescue your mother who got captured?
So I think, or like my take on it is, I mean, it is going to be very similar to those in those ways, but you can like focus on one and the other ones won't interrupt. Right?
Oh, I see. So, like, if I'm in X and Y, I could just get my 8 gym badges and then battle Pitbull and Lysander, like, later. Like, Mr. Worldwide, you gotta wait.
Yeah. I can't find the map. Where's the map?
Is the director just the bad guy? Like, he gives, like, major bad guy vibes, right?
Who, Clavel?
Yeah.
Oh man, did you never read the Madeline books?
Excuse me?
It's the bad hat is the bad guy. No. No, my God, I either just like really aged myself. Please tell me that somebody else has read the Madeline books. Oh no, you guys have to find them. They're so good. It's about these little girls that went to like a school in France. I think that the instructors are the bad guys and Mr. Clavel is not.
I think a lot of people looked at Rose and was like, Rose is the bad guy, right? Like I thought that was like pretty.
So are they going to do it again? Like they already did the guy who's your friend the whole time turns out to be the bad guy. Like, ooh, plot twist. Do you think they're really going to pull that one out 2 times in a row?
Yeah, because now you're not expecting it because you're like, they'll never do it twice in a row.
Yeah,
well, what was
maybe.
like Lysander was like an obvious bad guy too, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
minute you see him, you're like, oh, you're the bad guy. But he's like, he is friendly when you first meet him because he's like, oh, I invented the not Rotom phone, the what? I don't remember what that was called. The X receiver, the scan receiver.
Oh, who's going to remember that?
Which game was like the Sea Gear? Is that game?
No, the Sea Gear
was
was
black and white.
Black and white. That I do remember.
I don't know.
That was like a pretty good twist, I guess, that Getsus was using N as like propaganda. That was like pretty okay. I mean, they never explained the Shadow Triad stuff, but details.
It was Cylan, Chili, and the other one. Who's the water one? Cress.
Here, Greg's not here. Here's the thing that Greg will say, and I will agree with him. And this is a thing like I see on comments and stuff, where people will always be like, Pokemon stories. People will always like Pokemon story was good for Black and White. It really wasn't. It was like very like all the Pokemon stories. All the Pokemon stories are like very average, and the Pokemon world building is very good, and the Pokemon lore is very good. Like the in depth that they go in with characters, and like the story, like what we saw. I'm getting a little ahead of ourselves, but what we saw of what was their name? What was their name? Their name was Grusha. So they show Grusha. He is this gym leader. They give him a lot of personality in the trailer, and then they say Grusha used to be a professional snowboarder, but now he's the gym leader of the Glassado gym full time. He's an ice type specialist who uses Sea Titan as his partner. Like that is great building of a character. You already get a little bit of lore. That's all we're gonna get. Like they never do more than what they just did right there. And I hope that they do, but even like a character like Valerie in X and Y, you're like they made a big deal because she's like the first fairy type gym leader. You go to the town, you see her gym. Her gym has like a bunch of like clothing and sewing stuff, but that's it. Like that's all there is. Like you don't really get anything more out of her. So they have all these pieces in place for like flushing out characters, but then actually never really doing anything with them. And I another example before we move on would be like Milo. Like they gave us a bunch of trailers of Milo. They're like Milo and Nessa. These are the two first gym leaders you'll experience. And you get to Milo's gym and you battle Milo and he's like chasing Wooloo and then no one ever mentions or talks about Milo again. He is just gone.
That's
like
not
makes
true. When you're chasing
us
down and they are like Dynamaxing all the gyms, the Pokemon in the gyms, Milo comes back.
yeah for like a hot
then you
second.
can be like buddies with Milo with your all-star tournament thingy at the end.
That's true. You could all-star tournament with Milo. Yeah, the three-story thing is like I feel like it's just marketing.
Yeah, I would hope it would be more, like Will said, like more parallel than something like, Sword and Shield, like being champion and then afterwards getting your legendary doggo. Because since they're making it open world and they're saying that you don't have to do all of the gyms in like the same order, it seems, or I would hope that means you have more flexibility to kind of like choose your own adventure and not have to do the story that they want you to do in whatever order.
I also think it might lead to, like, if you want to focus on collecting, then you can do that and feel satisfied that you fit. Like, my most optimistic viewpoint would be, like, you can focus on collecting and not have to worry about battling at all. And you can still be very satisfied with what you get out of the story. Or if it's the other way, it's like you can focus on battling and not worry about collecting and still be very happy with what you get out of the story.
Yeah, maybe it'll be like Pogo, where they like let you choose which research path you want to go down, except for you get to do all of them. You don't have to restrict yourself to one.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be another like third story is like completing your Pokedex, right? So you have become champion. We know that for sure. Probably defeat bad guys or bad organization. Complete Pokedex, and then the last one would be that treasure hunt. But the treasure hunt could be defeat bad guys / that part of the story as well. Like,
that's my suspicion.
Yeah.
Like, completing the Pokedex is probably the third story.
They did show new people. They showed Clavel. He acts as the director of the academy, will teach the player many things about their school. Jacques, which is not, that's a French name. We're in a Spanish region.
Well,
right?
how is it spelled?
France is close to Spain.
That is also true.
JACQ.
Yeah, that's like halfway between both of them.
Yeah, that's strange. I dig his purple haircut, though.
Mr. Jacques is very knowledgeable about Pokemon biology and is the developer of the Pokedex app for the Rotom phone. He is also the player's homeroom teacher. Arvern is the upperclassman of the academy. He's good at cooking and researching healthy recipes that can help Pokemon feel better.
Cooking what,
Penny
though?
It has a shy personality, and for some reason, she doesn't come to the academy very often.
She's my favorite.
And then we already talked about Grusha, which I watched a lot of people's reactions to Grusha, and everyone was like, she is great. I said the same thing. I was like, I love her. And then we all find out later that she is a he. So my bad for misgendering. But at least I felt a little less bad that everyone did literally the same thing as me. But Grusha's great. Grusha seems awesome. And it is cool that I don't know if it's on purpose, but you would like to think it's on purpose that, you know, they made a more feminine character. They've done this. They've done something like this before in X and Y. Wow, I'm talking about X and Y a lot. So they actually did a trans character in X and Y. I don't know if you guys know this, but they slightly changed it in. Well, they didn't slightly. They straight up changed it in the English version of the games. But do you know how like Pokemon games have like set characters like Beauty? There's always like a Beauty. There's always like a Karate Master. There's always like a Pokemaniac, and the Pokemaniac in this game is really cool. He has like a stuffed Poke plush vest. But they, long story short, in the Battle Maison, the like cafe area, the
Battle
not
Maison,
the cafe,
yeah,
the Battle Maison. There's a character that when you battle her, she says like, "I used to be a black belt a couple years ago. Isn't the power of science amazing?" And then in the Japanese one, it like actually talks about like the transition a little bit more clear. I don't know why. I do know why actually America censored it, because like they have the weirdest. It's fine, but anyways,
it's not fine, but it's also we can't do anything about the past now.
Right, like it's like a 10-year-old game. So
exactly.
What can we do at this point? Besides like acknowledge that at least they tried. So we don't know the full story of Grusha, but Grusha is a he, and they do look very feminine, and that's okay. I'm into that. I think that's very cool.
It kind of falls in the same line as I hated that character so much I refused to learn its name. Bleeb from Sword and Shield. From Sword and Shield,
the little blonde kid who becomes the fairy leader. I forget his name too.
Because he's just so annoying.
The annoying fairy kid. You like beat him and he gets really mad, and then he gets like scooped up by Opal.
And he got the
Bead.
That's why I said Bleeble. But it's
I like Bleeble. Let's call him Bleeble.
When Bead first appeared,
I was thinking like a Weeble character, like woo.
No. So when Bead first appeared, I was like, "That's a girl."
Oh, then, you're right. There were people that thought that. Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh no, it's just a dude who likes to wear pink. That's cool."
No, he liked to wear
purple.
No, he did wear. You're right. It is.
Wait,
pink.
No, he liked pink, which was.
Opal liked pink on other people, but Opal's favorite color was purple.
Something. It was a trick question at the quiz.
Correct. So we have like these characters that are like feminine he's. Are there any like masculine she's?
Wasn't I could be completely wrong, but wasn't the character in Legends like that? She was like in charge of the dojo in the back. I can't remember her name, though.
Like the head of the guards.
I think she had red hair. I think she was supposed to be based on Flint, but I can't remember her name. They really flushed out the characters in in Legends. Oh, I did want to bring up Legends because Pengu said they were not interested based on everything they saw up to the trailers, and then the game came out. And then did you skip it or did you get it?
Okay, so I watched everyone play it, and it looked like everyone was having a lot of fun playing it, and I believed that it was a good game, but I was also like, this still doesn't look like the kind of game that I would want to play, so I held off. But then my big brother got the game, so I stole his cartridge and started a save file, and I made it like 2 hours in, but it didn't really stick.
Was it the catching mechanic that turned you off?
That, and I'm just like, I'm bad at video games, so I'm like, I don't know where to go. I'm also like very bad at navigating like in the real world and also in games. So as soon as you take away the train tracks, I know it's like unpopular opinion, everyone wants open world like everything, but as soon as you take away the train tracks, I'm like, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to go, I'm just gonna get lost, and I end up spending like hours circling the same place, which ends up not being fun. Like when I played Breath of the Wild, I also got like 2 hours in, and I never made it off the cliff with like your paraglider because I couldn't figure out like how to navigate to the thing, and I ended up just cooking for like an hour and then giving up on the game. So.
That sounds like me with most Zelda games. Yep.
So are you worried about then Scarlet and Violet following more of more similarities in Legends versus maybe Sword and Shield?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that like Pokemon is branching out with and like moving away from the train tracks, because I think that's what your average person has been screaming for however long. And I'm gonna get the games. I'm gonna try it. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think with open world games, I had this problem with Final Fantasy 15 where it was like, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then like the this and that weren't that interesting, and then I could tell my enjoyment started to fade, which I would imagine that other people have similar experiences. But at least Final Fantasy 15, and I would say Legends, did have it where it was like you can kind of ignore all that and like, here's your next story mission, here's your next story mission, here's your next story mission, and kind of go to that. I guess the difference though with like Legends is you could not have the resources or the correct Pokemon to move forward, so you would have to like fiddle around the area. It's like a tough balance, and it's funny because like when I was like playing Elden Ring, I was like, sometimes I just like when games are linear, and I know that's an unpopular opinion, but like when I'm in a cave in Elden Ring and it's like you could go left or you could go right. And my thought process is, well, one's a dead end and the other one is the right way. But if I go the right way first, then I don't know what's at the dead end. And then I'm backtracking because it's like, oh, this is the right way. I need to go now the other way to figure out what's in the dead end. Oh, the dead end has nothing.
Exactly the same way. Yeah. So when I'm like going along train tracks and I'm like, I think this is the wrong way, but I need to go the wrong way first to make sure that I see everything in the wrong way before I go the right way.
But I kind of just don't want that. I get there's like, it's like a sense of exploring, but like not really. It's more like a sense of anxiety of like, I picked the right way, and now I have to backtrack and go the wrong way because what if I miss something? And then you get over there and you're like, it's just a potion.
But you got to cover all the territory.
Sometimes linear is good. Just push me in the right direction. Just don't give me like 8 options. I want to go straight.
Agreed. Yeah, when I'm playing video games, it's because I'm tired of making decisions in the real world. I just want to sit back and let somebody else make decisions for me.
Probably bring up a lot of comparisons to Sword and Shield because there was the How and Hop both have 3 letters. They both start with H. They copy and paste animations. It's fine. I'm not here to debate copy pasting animations. Disney does it all the time. But that was a very common talking point of like, how is Hop different than How? And they did end up being very different characters. Although I look at Penny and they say she's a bit shy, and for some reason she doesn't come around the academy. And I can't help but think of Marnie, who I wouldn't maybe say Marnie was shy.
No, Marnie was a champion.
She did keep to herself. And
I always thought that was more that, like, not that she was shy, but that she was like, I don't need you guys. I am very self-sufficient and good at things. And like that kind of vibe rather than being shy.
Yeah. I mean, her gimmick was like she didn't smile. And then like at the very end, it's like, you got to smile at him. Great storytelling, right? It's like, no, not really. Like, it was cute. She has that like Eevee plush wrapped around her.
That's cute.
What? Eevee plush?
It's like an Eevee backpack.
She has a backpack, and she just puts the arms down.
But it's like an Eevee backpack. It's like the Gengar backpack you can get from Pokemon Center. It's like a plush, but also Gengar opens up and you stuff stuff inside him.
Talking about a future product tie-in is what we're talking about here.
Correct. There's no way that this doesn't become a $80 backpack in only the Japanese Pokemon Center.
You can't wear a backpack like that, though. That thing would just slide right off.
I think most of Marnie's stuff actually became real and was Japan exclusive. Like they had her cell phone case, her backpack, her towel, cheer towels. I don't know what they're called. But they're like towels. I don't think a lot of that stuff came to the United States, but they made a big deal about that stuff.
Does this mean we're getting a new Eeveelution because Penny's got the Eevee backpack?
Yes. Did you know there's a dedicated Eevee Twitter that's existed for like 7 years? That has to mean we're getting a new Eevee. That's the long con. Arvin is an upperclassman at the academy. He's good at cooking and researching healthy recipes that can help Pokemon feel better. Did you not get like jock feels from, not to be confused with jock? Did you not like JOCK? Did you not get like high school varsity jacket feels from this dude?
Yeah. He looks like a popular kid.
Yes, I agree.
He reminds me of the guy in Legends Arceus who was always like showing up, and he's like part of the Traders Guild or whatever, and he was like, oh, I've got this other mission, I'm gonna lead you over here. What was that dude's name? The blonde guy, the Cynthia looking guy.
Volo.
That's the vibe I got off this dude, Arvin.
There's a little bit more. There's an extra sentence not in the press release. I don't know why, but that's on Pokemon.com. He will be asking you to help him out since he isn't very good at Pokemon battles.
So he's the NPC who's going to send you out on missions to fight Pokemon, because this is very Monster Hunter vibe. That's like 90% of the missions in Monster Hunter are, I came across this monster, I don't want to battle it myself, you go do it.
I'm going to reread Penny's real quick. Penny is in the same grade as you. She's a bit of a shy personality, and for some reason, she doesn't come to the academy very often. She's especially fond of her fluffy Eevee bag and always has it on her back.
She's hiding something.
She looks sad.
She does. Also, did you notice her leggings are like all patched?
Is that patches or is that like the pattern on it?
Like, is that not plus and minus patterns?
I mean, it's a plus and a minus.
Plus minus patterns.
But like the minus is the minus of the blue and the plus is the red and the.
It looks tore
and
up
her hair
to
is
me.
blue and red.
Where can I find a transparent skirt? What is where does this clothing exist? Is it made out of plastic?
Ragstock.
That would be the only way, right?
Ragstock. Go to Ragstock. No, it's lace. It's.
Oh, it's like a lace. That's really hard to
like a sheer fabric.
Yeah. Like a tool almost.
She has leggings, shorts, skirt, a hoodie, combat boots, a huge backpack.
Good luck.
All over the place.
She is 100% my aesthetic. Absolutely.
I wonder if she'll have some sort of not bipolar, but like multiple personality type thing, because she has like the red and the blue hair and like the plus and the minus. Maybe there's something like split personality about her that we'll find out about.
When it says she doesn't come around to the academy very often, I think, and then she's sad. This is maybe the American in me. I just think like, oh, her parents are the problem. Like whether they're like getting divorced or they're not great parents. Like
popular theme in Pokemon games, sure.
I feel like that's like a popular theme in real life. Like, oh, this kid is very depressed, must have problems at home, kind of thing. Like it's like sucks to say, but like that was like kind of the trope IRL in school when you're like, they're not doing too hot.
I mean, it's just guaranteed. She's hiding something. We don't know what, but at some point we're going to discover what it is.
What if the treasure's just been in her backpack the entire time?
No, it's a new evolution that she, like her Eevee at home evolved into it, and she can't let anybody know because she's the only one who's ever come across the ghost type Eevee.
I don't think so. I think what is going to happen is she is going to have an Eevee, and it's just every time you battle it, it's going to have a different gosh, I hate this word.
Terastallization.
Yes, correct. I think that is her gimmick. You will battle the Eevee, and she will have a different Terastal. She will have a different
Terastallization.
Every time you battle her. I think that's the.
Do you think it'll be just her Eevee who does it, or do you think like you'll be able to get Pokemon who can do that?
No, I mean, I think you'll be able to get the things as well. I think that though, like, because I'm assuming Eevee will be her main Pokemon, and then she'll change it a bunch of times in order to try to beat you.
Wait, you can change a Pokemon's Terastal form?
So that's my question. Like, do you think that her Eevee will be unique in that it can like change? It can be like a water Eevee or a leaf Eevee or a fire Eevee, or do you think that like you will also be able to get an Eevee that can change into a bunch of things, or you can only get Eevees that can like only be grass or only water?
Yeah, because that like what I picked up on when they were discussing it was like when you catch a Pokemon, it will have like its regular Pokemon stuff, and then a specific Terastal alternative, right? Because they're just like, we need to give Steve more of what Steve wants. So now it's going to be like the rarest absolute Pokemon that you can get is the Cloyster with the ground Terastal form with this, what are those names that they stick on Brilliant thing, and also marked. No, like when it's got the name, it's
the
like
marked Pokemon with the title.
It's got its own mark, and it's got like shiny. You got to get all of them, and it's like 1 in 2 billion chance that you're gonna get that one.
Yeah, I mean, like there is there is the high likelihood that once you catch a Pokemon with a specific Tera type, so if Eevee is normal and the Tera type is normal, then it gets the ring pop on its head. It's like that weird crown thing that they showed.
Wait, why would a normal Eevee have a normal Tera type?
Because like that's what they showed with the starters, like the fire, like.
Yeah, so I think only some Pokemon will switch their types when they switch.
Are
we in paragraph 2 of the press release now? The Terastal Phenomenon?
Yes. Well. Okay, let me finish this thought because then we're gonna take a break and then we'll talk more about Tera. There is the high likelihood that if she has an Eevee, her Eevee will just stay like normal Tera type and then have the ring pop crown, and then that's fine because you're right. The mechanic might be designed where you cannot change it, which was like Sword and Shield, where like in order to get a G-Max Kingler, I need to find that raid. I do that raid, I catch that, and now I have it, and then DLC was like, well, now anything can be G-Max. Just give it the soup. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, so it could be something like that where they artificially make it rare for the first 6, 8, 10 months of the game, and now there's a way to change it. But she could have a way to change it, just like Leon had hidden ability Score Bunny before everyone else, and he just used it.
Maybe that's what's in her backpack. It's the Terastal soup.
Right, yeah. She's just stocked.
Arvid
is making the soup, giving it to her. She's giving it to Eevee.
It all fits.
The fluffy clouds do look like Dynamax Gigantamax, like of the straps of the backpack, if you use your imagination a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's take a break. We'll talk about the new gimmick when we come back. And then there's also 3 new Pokemon. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. Okay. The gimmick. Terastal Pokemon Phenomenon. Terastal. There we go. I got there. This phenomenon is found only in the Paldea region, and it makes Pokemon shine and glimmer like gems. When a Pokemon terastallizes, a Tera jewel will appear above the Pokemon's head like a crown, and the body will glisten like a cut gemstone. All Pokemon in the Paldea region can terastallize to gain special powers, and the terastallization allows players to enhance their battle strategies by increasing the power of any move that has the same type as the Pokemon's Tera type. There are 18 types, no new type confirmed, meaning there are countless combinations of Pokemon and Tera types. Players can terastallize a Pokemon once per battle, and the transformation will last until the battle ends. Players will need a Tera Orb to terastallize a Pokemon, which will need to be recharged after each use. Players can only charge their Tera Orb by touching crystals overflowing with Terastal energy or by going to a Pokemon Center. Okay, we'll stop there. So there are... Okay, so we can talk about gimmicks here. Just a quick overview. Black and White's battle gimmick was gems. There was a gem for every single type of Pokemon. When you use the gem, it would be used up in battle. Nowadays, in a game like Sword and Shield, there's only like 2 types of gems. I think it's normal gem, and I think it's flying gem. And then all the other gems are gone. Actually, I don't think it's flying gem. Normal for sure.
I think normal gem is the only gem that got preserved.
Yes.
I don't think there is another one.
And so that was very popular and competitive. You would see Pokemon like Tornadus run the move Acrobatics. It would use Acrobatics. It would get the power of the normal type gem, and then Acrobatics gets stronger when you're not holding a held item, and all of a sudden it's not holding the held item because it used the flying gem, and now it's... Anyways, it was very... Gems are very, very popular. Another thing in Black and White is like a Dragon type Pokemon could hold a Dragon gem, and because Fairy type didn't exist in Black and White, Not a lot of things could survive a Dragon-type move with a Dragon Gem. In X and Y, your gimmick was Mega Evolution, which I would argue for all comparison, probably the most limiting one. Because going back to Black and White, any Pokemon could hold a gem, and it didn't have to match its type. You could have a Hydreigon hold a dark gem. Well, hold on. Hydreigon is dark. You could have a Hydreigon hold a fire gem, because I believe it gets Flamethrower, and that Flamethrower would be stronger. There were only, across 2 games, 64, I believe, Mega Pokemon. So even though those games were the last games that required all the Pokemon to get the Shiny Charm 700 and something, very limiting in that sense of, I hope you really like Kangaskhan, because that's one of your 64 Pokemon that could Mega. Mm-hmm. Then we moved on to Sun and Moon, which had Z Crystals, which there were specific Z Crystals, like there was a Pikachu Z Crystal, but for the most part, you could put any Z Crystal on any Pokemon. Mimikyu could hold a Fairy-type Z Crystal, it could hold a normal-type Z Crystal, it could hold a Fairy-type Z Crystal, right? And those were just fancier versions of gems. But that was pretty much the gimmick there.
Well, you had to learn the dance too.
Yeah, it's true. You did. There was a dance. Yeah, there was a dance. But really, like, very comparable to gems in a lot of ways. I guess it wouldn't get used up. So acrobatics, like, you're still holding the gem. Anyways, and then Sword and Shield had Dynamax/Gigantamax, which again all Pokemon could use. And I know there's this constant roar of people that are like, just bring back Megas, make more Megas. Which, hey, I liked Megas. I think the Megas that exist are cool. But I don't think that would ever work, because they would have to then literally double their Pokedex at that point, mm-hmm. right? Like, mm-hmm. if Sword and Shield, which started with 400 Pokemon, had Megas for every Pokemon, now all of a sudden you have 800 Pokemon. And that's with a cut Pokedex, right? Like, they cut the Pokedex to, like, make animations and to, like, change stuff around, and, like, to whatever reason you whether believe or not believe for them to cut the Pokedex, having a Mega of every Pokemon doubles that Pokedex. And even if you're like, well, just Mega another 50, it's like, okay, well, I don't care about Tangela. I don't care about Magnezone.
How dare you? How double dare you? Has to be about you and the ones you care about. I didn't care about Audino. I'm not going to short somebody their Mega Audino.
That's true. Yeah, I'm sure all of the Audino fans are very happy with their Mega Audino. I think they did learn something of, like, it's important for all the Pokemon to have something, and they did specialize some Pokemon, right? Like Kingler, Machamp, Blastoise, Venusaur, like, they did get special forms, but at least all the Pokemon could use that gimmick, right? Like, you could go through X and Y and just never have a Pokemon with the ability to like, they give you a Lucario, right? And they're like, there's a Lucario, he can Mega, but, like, if you don't like Lucario, you wouldn't put it on your team. And then you can go through that whole game without ever having that button lit up. Whereas, at least in Alola, like, at any point you could put a Z Crystal on anything. You could Mega Bip Blop Bloop with your Mimikyu Super Happy Friend Time. I don't remember what his move was called.
Super Happy Friend Time.
You could do that to every single young goose you walked across. I don't know why you would, but you could. And with the Gigantamax Dynamax thing, you're limited to, like, gym leader battles, but you could Dynamax your Gossifleur, you could Dynamax your Aerokudo, you could Dynamax your Cramorant, you could Dynamax your Squirtle. Like, you could do that to every Pokemon. So Do I think like megas are forever gone? No. Like if they do an X and Y remake, which of course they will, because they will remake every game until people are like, look, they remade Red and Blue what, 3 times now? They will remake every game because it will continue making their money. So yes, if they do an X and Y remake, do I believe megas will come back? Yeah, of course. Do I believe they'll add a couple new ones to like sell more copies of yes, of course I do. But like, I think as an overall gimmick, they learned that they need to apply this to every Pokemon, to like cast a wider net of, oh, my favorite can do this, versus like, I don't care about Charizard, I don't care about Lucario, I don't care about Pikachu. What do you got for Chimecho? Nothing? Not interested.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it with megas, and we don't have to go down this road, but it's like Black and White was the real introduction of like real competitive VGC. Like, we're going to make this a real thing. And then with X and Y and megas, they were like, let's shape the VGC. Let's shape the meta and try to control it through these megas. And then they were like, that is a huge mistake. It's like, this is more than we can handle. So let's find another way. Well, let's step back from this and find another way to do it.
Yeah, and you know, they did a great job, in my opinion, with the battle scene in Sword and Shield. They did it where, you know, Series 1 was different than Series 2, different than Series 3, different than Series 4. They did it where they allowed Legends, they didn't allow Legends. They did it where they allowed Dynamax, they didn't allow Dynamax. They allowed it where these Dynamax Pokemon, these Gigantamax Pokemon were legal, these were not. They did a series where they banned the top 10 most popular Pokemon. Like, it was really great. And because every Pokemon could use the gimmick, it didn't feel restricting. Imagine if they did a top 10 ban in X and Y. Like, the number one most used Pokemon competitively was Mega Kangaskhan. There were only 64 Mega Pokemon allowed, and realistically, only like 8 of them were actually competitive. Kangaskhan being like the number one for a very, very long time. Obviously, once they opened it to legendaries, you know, Rayquaza and Primal Groudon and Primal Kyogre were dominated, of course. So, like, I think they figured it out, right? I think they saw that, like, we added this new gimmick. We added the mega gimmick to X and Y, and literally most of these megas are useless competitively. Like, you could still use them for the story. But that was the point I always like made with people, is like, cool, like, no one is using Mega Bayonet in competitive. What are you doing with it in the story besides like megaing it against a gym leader or something for?
Well, that's the other half of it, is I think when they realized that they couldn't control megas, they were like, the only megas we're going to make are the ones that nobody's going to use. We'll just make these garbage megas.
Yeah, so going back to the new gimmick, I like the crystallization that happens with the Pokemon, but man, their little hats are kind of dumb. I think they got the point across without the hat. Like, I think them turning crystal looks great.
No, the hat is critical because any Pokemon could have a different type for its Terastal type. So you have to have a visual for your opponent to be able to see what type it now is.
Yeah, that's true. So when, like, Fuecoco Terras, there's that weird, like, candle on his head.
Little candelabra.
I mean, you could just change the color of, like, the glitter, because you turn the Pokemon into a gem, so just, like, make the Pokemon colored differently. I agree.
Yeah,
but
there's 18 colors and accessibility with people who are colorblind. Nah, we gotta have shapes.
I would see if this is the game with colorblind mode. I doubt it, but hopefully one day we'll get there. is the ground type Tera going to be like a shovel above their head? Like I'm trying to think of like what the hat would be.
Maybe it'll just be a piece of coal.
Be a mountain, maybe, kind of.
That'd be like rock.
Rock will be a boulder.
Okay.
I've got answers.
Yeah, I think the hats are just a little silly. I get that you need to like signify, I don't know, maybe just put a symbol next to their name when they do it. Like the mega symbol was next to the Pokemon's name when it mega'd. Like it would be
true.
Yeah,
the hats are a little much. Like what is Quaxley supposed to be? Is that like an upside down anchor? Or is it supposed to be like a water fountain?
A water fountain.
The only one that looks good to me is like the flowers. The flowers look good. I think the flowers are cute.
The real question is fighting type. Now that you've put that thought into my mind, it's
just like a giant punching.
All I can think is knives.
Maybe a boxing glove? I don't know. Yeah, what would it be?
Yeah, that is. They do. Yeah.
What would Dark be?
Just like a swirling shadow that floats above your head and is shiny.
They should just make it like a little spirit tomb. And then when you Terastallize spirit tomb, it's just 2 spirit tombs. There you go. I just poo-pooed on Mega for a good 5 minutes, which I stand by that. But when they originally announced Mega, I was hyped for it. I was like, oh, Mega seems sick. They seem tight. And then
when you first thought that every Pokemon was going to get a Mega form,
that's
sure.
That's true. We did
when there was still hope in the world.
And then when they showed Z crystals, I was like, man, that looks cool. But okay, here's the thing. So they showed Megas. I was super hyped for it. They introduced Megas. And then my experience through the story, and I was like, I personally found X and Y to be relatively easy, not because of the experience share or anything like that. It's just, to me, most Pokemon games are relatively easy because I feel like I have a pretty good sense of playing video games. And the example I will use is that I've been playing It Takes Two with Irene, which I think is a really good game, and it requires, I don't know if you guys know this game, but it requires both of you to work together to like beat the game, right? And the cool gimmick of the game is like only one person has to buy it. So if I bought it and I wanted to play with Pengu, they wouldn't have to buy it. I could just invite them to join my game, and then they could play through the entire game with me, which is really, really cool. But usually each person has like a gimmick. So like in one level, she had a hammer and I had nails. And so I would have to use my nails. She would have to use the hammer. Like I can't like reach over and grab her controller and control. But well, I'm sure there's a relationship where somebody tried to do that, but it would be very hard for one person to control 2 controllers. Anyways, playing through that game, and Irene's played through every single Pokemon game, right? And she's played other games. She's completed King's Fall in Destiny, one of the hardest raids. She's completed it many times. She's completed other things in Destiny. She plays it like she plays video games. She's not very good at video games, but she plays it. But the thing that I realized playing It Takes Two directly with her and not being able to grab her controller is like I feel like she's lacking the sense. This sounds like I'm like burying my wife. Like I feel like if you play enough video games, you just kind of understand what the game is asking for you, right? Like I will walk into a level and just look around and be like, okay, we have to do this, this, and this, and that will open the door. And it takes her really long to figure out what the game is trying to ask of her. And I think that there's a fine balance in Pokemon games where Pokemon wants you to make it through the end of I think all games of this, they want you to make it through the end of the game and enjoy it and have fun and not get terribly stuck, but they want to add a little bit of challenge to it. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like the little bit of challenge they add to Pokemon games is like this sense of surprise of like, you don't know what this Pokemon's going to do. You don't know what type this is. And I think a really good example of that is Ultra Necrozma in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. The surprise is you don't know what type it is. You don't know what moves it is. You don't know how fast it is. And if you're unprepared or you didn't look anything up, Ultra Necrozma has a really good advantage over you versus somebody that's like, oh, I looked up its type. It's Psychic Dragon. I know that I can use a Fairy type move. I know I could use a Dark type move. I know that, like, it will outspeed me, so I'm going to like put a Focus Sash or use Mimikyu and talk. Like, there are solutions to it. But anyways, going back to X and Y, I never felt the need to Mega because I never felt the battles were tough enough. And then I was like, well, why would I Mega? Like, I'm just going to one-shot if I Mega, whereas if I, like, don't one-shot, then I might be in a situation where I have to, like, think a little bit more, right? Like, I can make my own challenge.
10 seconds of animation saved 60 times.
Really,
so.
I didn't want to Mega because I was just saving time. I don't know where I was going with that. I got so sidetracked off of the video game stuff. Anyways, the having, I'm assuming the gym leaders having possibly a move or a Tera form that would surprise you would be the challenge here, right? Like, oh, I didn't know that you were going to Terastallize into a ground type, and now your ground type moves are super strong, and I brought but yeah, anyways, like I look at the gimmick and I'm like, it seems fine. Like, I'm not as excited for it as I was initially for Megas or initially for Dynamax. Like, I still do think Dynamax is one of the stronger gimmicks throughout the games.
Well, for me, it's like maybe not Dynamax, but like, I mean, clearly there's some Dynamax something going on, but like a combination of the gems and Mega, I think is the best way to put it, right? Because, I mean, in my hypothesis here, you can find whatever your target Pokemon is with a specific Terastal type. So, like, let's say you want an EV with Terastal type water because that's gonna, it has some powerful water type move that's going to get a boost, except that it's not used up after one use. It's for the rest of the battle, which is the,
like Megas,
with the Mega version of it. So it's like a nice kind of like combination of those two things. And then we'll find out, much like we did with the gems, that it's too powerful and it will have to be discontinued.
So how do you guys feel about sorry.
Go ahead.
Finish your thoughts, Steve. I was just going to say, how do you feel about in the press release where they said that you have to recharge your Tera Orb after every time you use it?
I think they just learned that, like, going through X and Y and going through Sun and Moon, that people were just hitting that Z move every single turn, or people were megaing Lucario and then using Aura Sphere every single turn. Because, like, what would stop you from doing that? And that, like, if that was fun to you, then by all means, Z-move the heck out of every single young goose you come across. You probably don't need to, but you could.
Yeah, so I'd say that's the two thoughts on that. Number one, that's not for competitive VGC, right? It won't apply. So what it is, it's an acknowledgement that as this is an open world game, it's like, be strategic in how you use your terastallization, because if you're out in the field and you use it too much, you know, at the wrong times, you're out in the field. You're going to have to get back to a Pokemon Center if you want to use it again.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also think there could be a point where it's like something might be too hard. And so does that person... I think it's really clever, right? Because, like, if you get to an enemy or something that's too hard... I'm going to use Irene for an example, again, because she played through all of Legends, and I watched her play through Legends. And she lost to Melly right outside of Electrode, and she was like, I can't beat Melly. Like, she lost to him twice. And she's like, I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, you could level up. And she's like, I don't know how. And I was like, you literally just have to, like, catch Pokemon. And she's like, I don't want to do that. That sounds boring. Like, I caught the Pokemon I wanted to catch. And I was like, I agree with you. You're right. Why would you catch, like, 800 Voltorbs that are right over there? But I think, like, in that situation, if a person was stuck, like the example I just gave, and they were like, oh, I just have to, like, touch a bunch of these crystal points, and now I get my super move, and I bet that will help me defeat it. And then it gives them, like, a sense of almost direction. Like, I know what I need to do to recharge, and now I can strategize this way. I'm not saying that that's the best option, but it does give you something to, like, go back to and maybe, like, okay, I can do this, and then while I'm doing this, oh, I did discover a Pokemon or something. In an open world game, you have to, like, give reasons to force discovery. And in, like, something like the Isle of Armor, I would go and pick up everything every day. I would pick up all the feathers, I would pick up all the rare candies, I would pick up the mints, and I would have so much of that stuff. And it would be funny because people would come into my Twitch streams and they would be like, wow, you have so much of this item. And it's like, yeah, because I do this every day. And they're like, I didn't even know that stuff existed. Because they don't have a sense to, like, once you go around the island once, like, the game doesn't say, like, hey, this stuff respawns every day, or hey, like, these good items refresh every day at, like, midnight. The game never really gives you a reason to, like, explore. I guess they gave you a reason to explore of, like, oh, that light, that red beam back on that island is lit up, but, like, most people are just like, just wishing peace. I don't want to actually travel. So yeah, I think it's just, like, another reason to explore. I do want to talk about the like, types, right? Because the press release and the website make it seem like their wording makes it seem that all Pokemon can be all types.
Correct.
Which we don't know. So it says, all Pokemon in Paldea can Terastallize to gain a special power. First, each Pokemon has a Tera type. A Pokemon's Tera type is inactive until the Pokemon Terastallizes. At that time, it will change to the Tera type. For example, some Eevee will have a normal Tera type, but some other Eevee will have flying Tera type. There are 18 types, meaning there are countless combinations of Pokemon and Tera types.
No, there's actually countable, like 18 times however many Pokemon there are. There you go.
So this brings it back to a move called Hidden Power, which I'm not sure if you two are familiar with. Hidden Power is a really bad move. And what happened is that there were specific IVs being individual values that a Pokemon is born with, hatched with, caught with, right?
The particular genetics of the Pokemon, yes.
That make Pokemon unique. And those IVs would determine the hidden power type. So, for example, if you were running like a Spirit Tomb, and maybe you were having problems with Garchomp, Spirit Tomb, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this example. Just follow along here. I'm sure there's one person being like, well, actually. Anyways, Spirit Tomb, you could do like a hidden power ice. So Spirit Tomb normally gets ghost type moves, dark type moves. I don't think it gets any ice type move, but you could have that ice type coverage if you had hidden power ice. Mm-hmm. There was no way in old Pokemon games, prior to them they got rid of hidden power in Generation 8, which, again, people that were very upset about the National Dex, also very upset about Hidden Power. I quickly realized those people I don't want to be friends with because Hidden Power was a garbage type move. Anyways,
there's no garbage type.
It was a bad move. It was a bad move because, like, Pokemon has gotten to the point where if you got a Grookey in Sword and Shield, that Grookey realistically is never going to be competitive ready or perfect, correct? It's probably not even gonna have like one good IV. But you could take that Grookey all through Sword and Shield, bond with that Grookey, love that Grookey, and then at the end you might be like, oh, I wanna try Players Cup 3, and Rillaboom is really good, but my Rillaboom doesn't have the hidden ability, which Grassy Terrain. Well, there's an item for that. You give it the hidden ability capsule. Now your Grookey has Grassy Terrain. Great. And you're like, well, my Grookey doesn't have perfect IVs. Well, young trainer, we've introduced this thing called bottle caps. Now your Grookey can have perfect IVs. Well, my Grookey doesn't have the right nature. Everyone keeps telling me adamant nature is what I need to do. I have modest nature, one of the worst type natures for Grookey. Well, my young trainer, we have these things called mints. They have really made it where you can take a Pokemon that wherever you get, maybe it was traded from your friend, or you hatched it randomly, or you came across it on Route 1 and it was like a shiny Wooloo, or you started with it, or maybe it was like a Charizard from Fire Red Leaf Green that you brought all the way up. They've really made it where you could take any of your Pokemon and like make them viable competitively, or just give them perfect IVs for the sake of saying like, this is my favorite Charizard. I don't play competitive, but it's a perfect Charizard because I made him that way. Hidden power, there was no way for that. There was no way to ever change the hidden power. So you could do all of that work for that Rillaboom that I gave, bottle caps, mints, ability capsule, but there would have been no way to change its hidden ability, its nature,
hidden power type to be a move that you needed the coverage for.
They would have just introduced the hidden power charm.
That's true.
Like taking the move out of the game.
The hidden power capsule. So I think getting rid of hidden power was good. And when they showed the terastallizing, people then jumped to like, oh, this is like hidden power again, right? Like I'm gonna go catch a Spirit Tomb in Scarlet and Violet. I'm gonna give it the hidden power terastallizing ice type thing. I'm gonna have that coverage again. I don't think that's how it's going to work, and I think there's enough proof on the website to clarify that. And I think there's enough proof in the last game, and how they're bringing back raids to kind of solidify that they kind of know what they're doing here. So while I think that the statement on their website is true, there are 18 types, meaning countless combinations of Pokemon and Tera types, I think they're in complete control of how they're going to do this. And I don't think it's going to be you catch 18 Voltorbs in the wild, and one of these Voltorbs is ice, and one of these are fire, and one of these is electric. They have specifically said that Tera types are rare, and that Tera types are mostly found in raids. And they can use the word mostly found in raids because they've showed a Pikachu, and they're like, this Pikachu is flying, and you get it through distribution. That fits that sentence of mostly found in raids, because the other 1% is found in like distributions, or like Pokemon Home, or like another game. So if they are mostly found in raids, and they show on the website that there is a green crystal, and that they say on the website that this is a grass Tera type, meaning you are going to see that this is a grass Tera type raid, and the Pokemon you catch in there will be the grass Tera type. So if you go into that raid and you see a Gardevoir, that Gardevoir is going to be grass Tera type. But as we know from Sword and Shield raids, it's usually like 10 Pokemon, and then the Gardevoir is a 1%, the Arcanine's a 5%, the Squavit is a 30%. So if the raid color determines what Tera type there is, they're guaranteeing the Pokemon in that raid pool is that specific Tera type, meaning they can control which Pokemon get which Tera types. So is it possible for Charizard, for example, to get water, electric, flying? Yes, but only if it exists in a raid den, and who's to say it is going to exist in that raid den? And I know this is a really long-winded conversation, but like when you start the game, and I'll use Charmander, and there is no Charmander in the raid dens, then your Charmander can only be probably fire or flying, right? Whatever the default it assigns to. They could do a raid event in the future where it's like, oh, this weekend we're putting Charmanders in raids, and those Charmanders in raids will fall under the water Tera type. Now you can get a fire Charmander, and then you can get a water Charmander. They have already proven that they have been rotating raids every month. Game's been out for 3 years. They've rotated them every month. They've given us special raid weekends. They've given us shiny raid weekends. They also controlled Gigantamax pretty well. Like when you started Sword and Shield, they promoted what did they promote? It was like Dreadnought and something else. And so you went into raids, you would catch like Dreadnought, but like Kingler or Machamp or Gengar, those were like really rare Gigantamax raids. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden the month would rotate over and they're like, we're promoting Machamp and Gengar. They're appearing more frequently in raids. So they've controlled that situation before. And honestly, if it wasn't for like the clock date switch thing, people probably would have gotten more time out of the raid stuff, because once people figured out, I can just move my clock forward and like find the Gmax Kingler, it kind of like sucked all that like sense of discovery out of it. Mm-hmm. But not only can they control which Pokemon appear in which raid dens, meaning they can say like, yeah, Pikachu can be any type, but Pikachu only exists in ground type raid dens. So right now you can only get electric Pikachu, you can only get flying Pikachu from the distribution, and you can only get ground type Pikachu. Could there be a ice Pikachu in the future? Yes, but not right now, because there's not a Pikachu spawning in an ice type den. So all of that aside, I think there's enough proof in what I just explained for that to probably be the case. But also they can use this for competitive. They can say like, the current raid den situation is how Series 1 of competitive is going to be. And now we're going to put Charmander water type in raids. That will be legal for Series 2. Now you've just slightly changed the meta like they've done before by introducing new Pokemon in new raid type dens.
So I almost agree with you. The one difference that I would say, it's because I don't think that they plan that well. That yes, you can get non-standard Tera types of Pokemon through raids. That makes sense, right? Like it's not going to be your Pokemon that are walking around. It's going to be, you're only going to get the special Tera types in raids. But I think the way that they're going to do it is they're going to say like, all right, we're having Gardevoir raid weekend, and that Gardevoir could be any of the 18. And it's like, you keep raiding until you find the Tera type that you want Gardevoir to have. So yes, they'll control which Pokemon would be available for VGC, but not the Tera type. So like all 18 possibilities would be available, but only for that specific Pokemon that was available as a raid.
I think though that like, if they control both, right? We're controlling which Tera types are existing per raids and which Pokemon are spawning in the raids. They add more length to their own game. Like if you struggle to find Gengar that first month of that game, you would probably come back the second month because Gengar's being promoted, Gigantamax Gengar. I think it behooves them to put all of, I think that's the word of the show. I think it behooves them to put all 18 types for, let's just say this game has 400 Pokemon. 400 times 18 is some very large number. And if you're a collector, you would be like, that's super overwhelming. Even if you cared about one Pokemon, if you cared about specifically Shinx, and Shinx has all 18, and you have to like weed through a bunch of Pokemon you don't care about, that's still a pretty overwhelming number. Where if they go like, this week is Water Week, all the raids will be water, and Shinx Buizel, Starly are the featured Pokemon in there, you could be like, oh, I want to come back for that week. Oh, they're switching the raid downs. I want to come back. Oh, there's a huge rotation this month. I want to come back. And they can kind of like drip feed it because they don't have to make new Pokemon. They don't have to make new Megas. They don't have to make new Gigantamax. They just got to put a candle on its head and be like, this one's fire now.
I mean, they can do both, right? They can have like a raid weekend where it's like Gardevoir week and all of you have 18 types of Gardevoir and go nuts, or they can do like Water week and you have 18 Pokemon that can be water. Go nuts.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I was going to say. 100%
yeah, I
agree.
I just don't think that this is like the hidden power situation. I think that this is very controlled by them versus like what they're putting into the wild and what they're not. Sinistea is like a really good example too. Like, if you wanted authentic Sinistea when Sword and Shield first came out, there were 2 places to hunt it. One was in the forest through wild encounters, and then the other was in the fog in the wild area, like 1 day a week for like 6 hours. Like, those were the only 2 places you could hunt it. You could breed it, but you couldn't get authentic. And then the Crown Tundra came out and gave you a 3rd place to hunt it. Like, they control exactly which Pokemon are spawning in which routes, in which dens, so I don't think I think there's probably more control to Tera types than people think. I don't think you're gonna start the game and be like, I got all 18 EVs within the first hour. I just don't think that's happening. Because that would assume that Eevee is in raids, and we don't even know if Eevee will be in raids.
Mm-hmm. That being said, if anybody has a Steel Tera type Phalanx, I'm looking to trade. I need one. Thanks.
And for the battle stuff, competitively, I think there is a lot of value to like you being water fairy and then just changing your type specifically to water. That would be the Azumarill they showed. Like, oh no, there's a poison Pokemon across from me. I'm just gonna drop the fairy type, go pure water. Now that poison type's not super effective against me. It's just neutral. There's definitely value there, and I think this feeds into like them controlling the types. If you know that Pikachu is only electric, flying, ground, if you're playing competitive and there's a Pikachu in front of you, now you don't go, oh gosh, there's 18. Which one is this Pikachu? You go, this Pikachu is either electric, flying, or ground. Like, those are the 3 options.
Well, so my question, which I don't see an answer for, is does terastallizing change the Pokemon's type, or does it just give it an enhancement?
It does say it changes its type.
Where?
Oh, gosh.
All Pokemon can terastallize to gain special powers, and terastallization allows players to enhance their battle strategies by increasing the power of any moves that have the same type as their Pokemon's Tera type. There are 18 types, meaning there are countless combinations of Pokemon and Tera types. That doesn't
Changing your Pokemon's weakness. It's the next sentence.
Oh, dag-nabbit.
Yeah.
That's not in the press release. That's how they tricked me.
Yeah, it's not in the press release. I don't know why the press release and the website have like slightly different. Okay, and then they brought back raid battles. So this will be our last part of the Tera. This was the thing out of all, like, I thought the trailer was good. I thought the whole presents was good. But man, them bringing back raid battles, I was like, no way. That was the thing I was super worried about in Sword and Shield. I was like, I think raid battles are so great. I think the thought process of 4 people battling one Pokemon that's supposed to be a little bit challenging. Turns out it didn't end up being that challenging, but it was still fun. Look, Animal Crossing's not challenging. It's still fun. Maybe paying off your debt to Tom Nook a little challenging. But, like, things don't have to be super hard to be fun. And I thought raid battles were just an absolute delight. I thought Dynamax Adventure was an absolute delight. Even, like, failing a Dynamax Adventure and being like, we didn't get that Zapdos, but we got 3 other Pokemon. Let's shiny check those. Still super fun. And I was like, if they get rid of raids, what, like, 4-player activity are they going to give us? And they were like, you know what? No, we're just going to bring back raids again. It's slightly different because, like, not Dynamax, but, like, very into this. I think I think like they hit it out of the park with raids for Sword and Shield as like a fun thing that they shouldn't have cut. And I think that's the thing with a generation of Pokemon is like going back to Megas. People loved Megas and then they cut it. And then people were like, I want Megas back. And that's kind of like, raids are great. Like, if you cut it, what are you replacing it with? Because at least Megas were replaced with Z Crystals, were replaced with Dynamax, replaced with another gimmick. But like, if you just want us to race bikes around this world, that's not the same as like cooperating to like take down a hard boss.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the raid system as well. And if you're somebody that likes Pokemon but you don't like battling, there's like not a lot of multiplayer stuff you can do in Pokemon aside from like trading. And I think that the raid battles are like a really, really good co-op mode. Yeah, so I'm glad that they brought it back.
Yeah, and it also ties into like that Grookey story. Like, hey, I leveled up my Grookey. It has the hidden ability now. It has good IVs. I'm going to use him in raids. Like, I don't have to use him competitively, but now he's at least good against all of the Weasel raids that I'm about to do. I'm going to Grassy Glide that Weasel to back and forth. They did say that the battle system has a time limit and allows players to continue to attack seamlessly without waiting for other trainers to choose their actions. So that is new. That is different. I don't know the extent of what that means. Like,
so if you remember in raid battles, everybody would plug in their move, and then based on the speed of the Pokemon, it would determine the order that the moves would go off.
Mm-hmm.
No more. I put in my move goes.
Is this like a Final Fantasy thing where like you hit the move and then you have like cooldown, and when it gets to the end, you do it again?
I mean, I don't know if there's a cooldown or what. That makes sense because it makes sense like a faster Pokemon would have a shorter cooldown. But it's like everybody doesn't have to plug in their moves. It's just like whenever you are ready to do your move, you do it. Ready and able to do your move, you do it.
So would that be more like in Pokemon Go raid battles where everyone's just like tap in and you
Yeah.
can charge your move when you
Yeah, and
charge
you can
it
have
and
like
then you just go?
moves that go off simultaneously.
Right.
They said to have a battle together with friends, a player will already need to know or set the link code. So we'll see if they figure that out.
Oh, if they can please fix that.
Wycom.
Yes.
We can only hope the Wycom will be better. There is some other multiplayer stuff in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Players can trade with players. Players can trade and battle with trainers all over the world using a feature called the Poke Portal. In the Poke Portal, a link trade lets players trade with a specific Pokemon. Surprise trade is returning. After choosing a Pokemon to trade, the player will be able to trade with a random trainer somewhere in the world. Battling option in the Poke Portal. Players will also have to Pokemon battles with other Pokemon trainers. Additionally, with the new Union Circle added to the Poke Portal, a player and 3 friends can adventure together in the same space. It doesn't specifically say if I'm riding my bike with Will and Greg, if I can just stop and then trade Will and then get back on the bike and still go, or if we have to go to the designated spot, the Poke Portal spot to link trade or whatnot. It doesn't really say. We also don't know what happens when like Will and I see a young goose on our bikes and I run into the young goose. Does Will see that battle? Does Will participate in that battle? Does Will run into the young goose and get a different young goose? Like they haven't shown or talked about that yet.
Yeah, the multiplayer is still vague.
Yeah, I mean, it could be kind of like Animal Crossing where they just turn off some functionality when people are at your island. So, like, when somebody comes, maybe, like, I guess they wouldn't turn off wild Pokemon encounters. They could. I don't know.
No, they absolutely could.
Yeah.
They absolutely could. It's like...
They could change it to grass encounters, like random,
mm-hmm.
which would be bad. Do you think it's gonna be like Animal Crossing, where it takes like 2 hours to get to somebody's island? You gotta like wait for the gates to close, and then like the plane fly over, and you're
Please
like,
no.
No, I could see it be like you kids are making too much noise, so all the Pokemon that were running out that you could see have gone to hide in the grass. So if you want to find Pokemon, you've got to go into the grass.
I imagine though, I think it would be hard to do the logistics of like co-op battles of wild Pokemon, because then like who gets to catch it? Do you both get to catch it?
yeah, because that's like, well, raids are the thing, right?
So then would they like, would they make the Pokemon harder then? If you have like more people, would you get higher level Pokemon so that you're not just like 4 people taking down a level 6 Yungoos?
We could all Mega at the same time. We could all Mega Aura Spirit.
It's gonna be like Monster Hunter. I can see it now, where it's like I need for this monster to die. I've got to kill this monster, and then some other dude's like, I set a trap, and I trapped it. And I was like, no, I didn't need it trapped.
The only thing they seem to like solidify without saying it is that you'll be able to race each other. Like that seemed like a very like they didn't say like you'll be able to like actually have like. I think in Destiny, when I would play with Will or Irene, like we could just say like who's going to get from point A to point B the fastest. Like we could like make our own fun. We could be like let's race to the space base, and then we jump on our cars and we get there. So like in Scarlet and Violet, you could be like, okay, let's race to the next town on our weird motorcycle bikes. But I do think that there has to be like talk to this person will be like, let's set up a race, and then there will be an actual like do and then like
I mean, even Destiny did introduce racing eventually.
yes, yeah, they eventually did.
So if you can race, does that mean the speed of your bike depends on like the stats of your Pokemon? Like like what's gonna if everyone has a bike that goes the same speed, how are you gonna race? Like what's gonna determine differences in speed?
The tight cornering.
Yeah, I think it's
hitting the apex of every turn
along those lines, where it's like the balloons in Legends Arceus, or
in Sword and Shield they had the balloon they had the balloons too,
right?
Or something
in
where
the
it's
wild
like
area.
You can like if there might be something on the course where if you hit it, like your Pokemon goes faster.
Okay.
Or
like,
in Sword and Shield, if you hit it, you would like spin out.
Mm-hmm.
So they've done racing before. They just haven't done group racing. Okay, one more break. When we get back, we're going to talk about the 3 new Pokemon and the weird legendaries. So we will be right back. And we are back from our break. In addition to new regional Pokemon found across both Scarlet and Violet, different species will appear depending on which game the player purchases. For example, Larvitar and Stonejourner will appear in Scarlet, and Bagon and Ice-Cube will appear in Violet. So we know which one Pengu's getting.
I actually think I'm getting Scarlet because my big brother always gets dibs on which game he wants, and he wants the purple one. So I think I get the red one.
So now you got to trade for the Ice-Cube.
Yep, that's the way that works.
Okay, so they show 3 new Pokemon. The first one is Fido. Fido's skin has elastic qualities and is both firm and soft at the same time. When these Pokemon become excited, they intimidate their opponents by puffing up their bodies to appear bigger. Fido ferments things in its vicinity using the yeast in its breath. The yeast is useful for cooking, so the Pokemon has been protected by people since long ago. It is the puppy Pokemon. It is fairy type. It has the ability Own Tempo.
So the popular cooking dude is going to have one of these, right? Because he's going to just like get his dog to breathe on everything and cook stuff.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. Do you think the cooking dude's going to have like Appleton and like Vanillish, and do you think they're going to do the gimmick?
But that would imply that he's like eating those Pokemon.
Yeah, it has to be the Pokemon that help you cook.
Yeah, not the Pokemon that you cook.
he could just like food so much that he has an Appleton. He doesn't have to eat the Appleton.
But if he likes food so much, wouldn't he just be like thinking about eating the Appleton the whole time?
Yeah.
I do have a declaration to make.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If you have gone gluten-free in your life, you cannot have a Fido. Sorry.
You can have gluten-free bread.
You cannot have elastic qualities in gluten-free bread.
I love bread. I had like 6 crazy breadsticks before I went to bed last night.
Do you want to understand this here? Understand how much Steve loves bread. We went to lunch together yesterday. He orders like a full breakfast plate, bacon, eggs, sourdough toast. He ate the toast.
I ate other things.
That he like maybe had half a bacon and a scoop of eggs. He ate the toast.
I messed up with the eggs because I love scrambled eggs, but then I forget to ask them to get them well done, and then most restaurants scramble eggs are like really runny, and I hate it. Like I don't want soupy eggs. I want a little brown. I want my eggs to be a little brown.
Anyways.
Speaking of brown.
Good segue. Nice.
Paldini. How do you say this? Paldea. Paldean.
Like Chilean.
Paldean.
Paldean Wooper. In ancient times, Wooper lived underwater in the Paldea region. After losing its struggle for territory, it seems they began living in bogs on the land. To keep them from drying out living on land, they began to cover their bodies with a poisonous film. Their gills have hardened thanks to living on land for so long. Their bodies are heavy and they move slowly, but they can protect themselves by shooting powerful poisonous liquid from their gills. This is what I was talking about earlier. The lore. Mwah. Good. Deep. There will be nothing in the story to ever signify what caused them to like lose their territory.
I mean, look at them. They're like they're so anything could beat a Wooper out for territory.
True.
They got no arms. They're the poison fish Pokemon. They are poison ground type. They have the abilities Poison Point and Water Absorb. Actually, really good Water Absorb there because ground is weak to water. You suck up all the water, so I guess we'll see if that actually is good competitively. And then finally, we have Cetitan. Cetitan have tough muscles to support their immense bodies, and physical attacks using their bodies have incredible power. They migrated around the snowy regions protected by a thick layer of fat. They're known as the Tera Whale Pokemon. They're pure ice type. They have the ability Thick Fat and Slush Rush.
Where does the name Cetitan come from?
Is
Quiz
it not like
time.
Sea Titan, like sea
That is
as
not
in the
the
water?
answer I'm looking for.
Oh.
Where does the name Cetitan come from?
Somebody
from a Greek god.
in Bellevue, Washington.
Oh, you are... You have shamed your ancestors. The scientific name for whales is cetacean.
Oh.
So, yes,
Okay.
it is a
But
sea
where did
titan.
that come from?
Well, okay, fine. It may have a Latinate origin.
It's cool that people are like. I think all these Pokemon are great. Cetitan solidifies that like. I like the goofy, dumb-looking Pokemon more than like the cool, serious Pokemon. Like I get why people like Cetitan. Just he's not like, derpy enough for me.
On first view, I thought he was just like a big squishy ball, and I liked that. But he's like hard and spiky, which I like less.
A very spiky land whale.
Yeah. I also like the derpy Pokemon. So.
He makes some fun faces, though.
Do you think we're going to get, like, Ball Fetch back? Because when I saw Fido, I was like, oh, what if it had Ball Fetch like Yamper? That'd be great. Because, like, Yamper's ability is incredible. In my 2,000-plus hours of Sword and Shield, I almost always have a Yamper on my team. Because if you, like, find a shiny Pokemon or something and you, like, throw a friend ball at it and, like, it breaks out, you can, like, switch in Yamper, get your friend ball back. It's, like, crazy good. And it's the only Pokemon out of almost 1,000 Pokemon that have that ability. And I was like, own tempo? What a garbage ability. No one wants that. No one wants own tempo. Give it the ball fetch. It's a dog.
Then your ball's always going to be all yeasty when it brings it back to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that like just the acceptance you have as a dog owner? Is your dog always has bad breath anyways?
Not if you brush your dog's teeth.
Dogs don't have bad breath.
What?
I mean, some do. But if you brush your dog's teeth, then they're fine.
If you feed it the right food and brush its teeth, it's not going to have bad breath.
New forms discovered for legendary Pokemon Koraidon and Miraidon. Did we say on the show like the end of its name is like Rhydon? Like riding on. Just in case like no one got the pun there. Players will meet legendary Pokemon, either Koraidon or Miraidon, and it will join them on their journey. Koraidon and Miraidon are full of mystery and said to have powers that far surpass that of other Pokemon. These Pokemon change forms to better suit what they are doing on what terrain they are traveling over. There's a sprinting build / drive mode. Players can ride sprinting build Koraidon or drive mode Miraidon to make it easier to traverse the expansive Paldea region more freely. There is swimming build / aquatic mode. Players will be able to jump into rivers, lakes, and vibrant oceans to approach Pokemon that live there or cross perilous waters by snapping by either using swimming build Koraidon or aqua mode Miraidon. And there's gliding / glide mode. Players can travel mountains, cliffs, or tall buildings by gliding towards their destination. They don't have fancy names for them there. They ran out of copy. There's also in the trailer, they show them like climbing straight up a mountain like Sneasler does in Legends Arceus, but that's not listed here. But they just straight up that mountain. Could be a little Breath of the Wild. Don't know if there's like a stamina bar.
So I think that these legends in bike form look a little silly. They're like so small and you just like sit on them and it's like, this used to be a Rotom, but now it's your legendary, but it does the exact same thing.
Yeah, also you would have to get them pretty early, right?
Like that. Unless they just make you grind through the first half of the game.
No, but that was the surprise to me. So, yes. The surprise to me was the fact that it's like, you're going to get the legendary at the beginning of the game.
Mm-hmm. It's a good twist. You know, honestly, like, why not try it?
It's like a vaccine. It's the weakened form of the legendary. Okay. It's not going to reach full power until you unlock the mystery later in the game.
So you can use it as a bike, but not as a Pokemon until you unlock
that's what I think too.
Pokemon powers.
I don't think you can use it as a Pokemon. Do you think it's the treasure? You've been riding on the treasure the entire time?
Mm-hmm.
No, the treasure's in the Eevee backpack.
Oh, yeah.
The treasure is the adventure you had along the way.
I'll be so mad if that's the treasure.
Do you think somebody at the Pokemon Company like finally got around to watching One Piece? And they're like, I like that. Let's put that in our game. Let's find the One Piece. I love that Koraidon has wheels, but then runs on all four. I'm very into it. It's so dumb, and I was on Team Miraidon from the start. I was like, he looks cooler, has like a spacier theme. Love the color purple. And then they just show Koraidon like not using his wheels, and I'm like, I'm in. They've made him better.
Arguable.
I mean, I didn't even pay attention to it because I was just focused on the one that mattered to me.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting for them to be like, here's the legend so early, assuming that you get the bike before the second gym in Sword and Shield. You can't traverse water until after the 6th gym, if I remember correctly, before Piers. But you do get the bike relatively early in most Pokemon games. I would be curious if So something that's probably not going to happen that we've learned from Legends Arceus, but we can be hopeful. Like, what happens when you own both games? And I trade my Miraidon into my copy of Scarlet. Can I opt to ride him instead of Miraidon? Because I now own both. Is probably not, but
why not? That makes sense.
Because when I caught a shiny Weirdeer in Legends Arceus, I was restricted to ride my non-shiny Weirdeer.
Because you were riding the sacred Pokemon of Weirdeer. The clan, not just any Weirdeer off the block. That's a big difference.
That's the name of my new band, Weirdeer Off the Block.
So if you like transfer your dragon bike dude into home, do you just have to walk everywhere from then on?
Oh yeah, that's a good question too. That was a thing in Sun and Moon though. If you got rid of your Lunala or your Solgaleo, you couldn't use them to change the portal. So like I left a Solgaleo Lunala in my copy of Ultra because it was like, well, if I go back to these games and then I need to change like the time of day with the portal, you need those Pokemon to change the portal. So yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. What if you release your Koraidon and then you're like, I can't race anymore. I let him be free so all four legs can run.
What if you're like on an island and then you get rid of your dragon? Does that mean you're just stranded on the island forever because you can't traverse the water?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do. Yeah. Well, like I think that does go in part of like it's probably not your Pokemon until the end, right?
Right.
Like, but like if it then becomes your Pokemon at the end and then you release it, do you just they just magically pop up for you to like fly around? Another question I have is, can I ride different Pokemon? Because if I'm going to race other people and all four of us own Scarlet and we're all running on Koraidon, what if I want to ride a Lechonk? What if I want to ride like whatever the evolution of Fido is? Because that's probably a bigger dog to ride on. Hopefully not as lame as Bolton.
I feel like you're not going to be able to ride other stuff. I feel like they would have told us if you could.
The video that we see, it is Miraidons and Koraidons.
And also they made it like you can ride it on the land, you can ride it in the water, it can fly, it can climb, like it can do everything, it sounds like. So
what a downgrade. In Legends we got like 5 creatures. In this game we just got 1.
Yeah, but this is open world.
And if we assume that there's a third one, to be fair, Sword and Shield, there was not a third doggo. There was just weird skeleton dragon. But if there's a third dragon thingy, like a Kyurem, can we ride that? What if we catch that? Can we ride that?
No. I'm going to put my bet on no.
Yeah. It's cool, though. I saw a TikTok of somebody being like, the first problem is I said I saw a TikTok, but they were like, how have we advanced in Pokemon worlds? Like in Galar, we have like these trains and we have like these Corviknight buses, and in this game we're just riding a legendary Pokemon. And I was like, yeah, that's like kind of a point, but also like every game, like it is true that different regions or different cities or different countries have different forms of transportation. Like America's very bad at trains. Japan is very good at trains.
I think we should bring back the let's go, like ride in on your little dude on the map. I think that was the best Pokemon riding experience thus far.
You ride a Persian or an Arcanine or a Snorlax or a Haunter or an Onix. Really, let's go was good.
You could ride on a ride-on.
Bonus is announced. There's a special Pikachu. By purchasing Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, players will receive a special in-game Pikachu as a gift. This Pikachu will have 2 unique characteristics. 1, it will know the move Fly. 2, its Terra type will be Flying. Players can receive this gift by choosing Get via internet mystery gift until February 28th, 2023. So this goes back to my theory earlier that they can control Tera types. They specifically said that this flying Pikachu will not be in the game at all. That if you want flying Tera type Pikachu, you need to get the special distribution. So for the people that still believe hidden power is a thing, it doesn't make sense, because if you got hidden power flying, they're clearly stating right here that this Pikachu will be Tera type flying, and this is the only way to get that Tera type flying. No amount of catching random Pikachus is going to get you a Tera type flying Pikachu, unless at the end of the game there's like some machine that you like punch the buttons in and then it changes the Tera.
Well,
the Tera soup.
What they're saying is the only way to get the Pikachu that knows fly is through the distribution.
It says this Pikachu has 2 unique characteristics.
Well,
I'm just reading the website.
I'm betting that the fly is the distribution part.
If players download the digital version of Scarlet or Violet from the Nintendo eShop by Tuesday, February 28th, you can receive a serial code for your adventure set. Are you guys ready to hear what your adventure set is?
How many Pokeballs am I getting?
So far, 0.
No quick
You'll
balls.
get 10. Count them, 10 potions. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 full heals. If you think 1 revive isn't enough, you're correct. They're giving you 3. Ether? Who is she? You're getting 3 of them. Rare candy? A solid uno. That's 1 for our non-Spanish speakers. And finally, to round it all off, you get 1 nugget. That is what they call the adventure set that you can get for free if you download the digital. This should be an ad. They should have paid me for this. I've sold multiple digital copies now. People are like, 10 potions? Digital time.
All that authentic energy really selling it.
Thank you. Will, this is for you.
Doubtful.
The double pack bonus.
That's definitely not me.
As a special bonus for purchasing Scarlet and Violet double pack, trainers will receive 2 codes, 1 per game, that will reward them with 100 Pokeballs.
I knew the 100 Pokeballs was coming somewhere.
No quick balls this time. This is what y'all get. Y'all complain that the quick ball special pre-order bonus that they did for Omega Ruby, that they did for Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Moon, I'm pretty sure they did it for Sword and Shield. Y'all complained that the quick ball we were getting 0 quick balls this time around. Quick balls were a vital tool to catch Magnemites or whatever else appeared in that first area.
They just ruined it for everyone. Now nobody gets quick balls.
Now no one is getting quick balls. We're getting 10 potions instead. That is a lot of info that we covered. I'm sure we're missing some stuff. They showed a Persian with a ring pop on its head. I don't know what more you want. You can see the map. This is an audio podcast, but if you go look at the map and you zoom in, you could probably figure out where all 8 gyms are by zooming in. They did say there was 8 gyms. They did. I guess we didn't say that. They did say that there was 8 gyms, and they did say that you could battle the gyms in any order. What they didn't say is, are these gyms going to scale to your level? So what that means for, I guess, somebody who might not be a hardcore video game player, maybe they just enjoy Pokemon, that would mean, like, normally when we'll do Red and Blue, for example. When you first get to Brock, I think he's level like 10 and 11, and then when you get to Misty, she's like 17 and 18, and then when you get to Lieutenant Surge, he's like 21 and 23, I think. So ideally, like, let's say you were doing Kanto, you could go to any gym you wanted. You go to Lieutenant Surge, and is he still going to be 21 and 23, and that's your first gym you got to? Or are they going to say, like, well, since you have no gym badges, I guess that's how they would probably do it, right? They would register how many gym badges you have, and they would say, well, you have 0 gym badges, so Lieutenant Surge will be level 10 and 11. Oh, you have 7 gym badges. Lieutenant Surge is 56 and 57 now.
I think that's how it's going to work. Yeah.
We don't know if they're going to scale, or there are games like, oh, this may be not a great example, but the original Legend of Zelda on the NES, you could go anywhere you wanted. You could go to the hardest dungeon right away. You would probably die a million times because you only have 3 hearts. But you did not have to do those dungeons in that order. You could do Dungeon 1 and then Dungeon 3 and then Dungeon 4 and then go back to Dungeon 2, technically, in that Zelda game. There was no scaling. That didn't make it easier because you went to a different dungeon in a different order. So I think that everyone would want the level scaling. I think that makes sense. They definitely showed that in that one anime where, what was that, Pokemon Origins? Where like
so.
Brock has like multiple Pokemon, but he only chooses based off the fact that Red has no badges. I don't, as nice as that provides variety and gives you your own sense of exploration, and there is something nice about like, well, I'm here and I traveled all the way here, I would like to do the gym instead of backtracking. I don't know if that makes the game drastically better. I mean, and the reason I say that is because at one point in a game called Black and White, they were like, sorry, not Black and White, it was X and Y. They were like, you can battle the Elite Four in any order. Cool. Doesn't actually matter.
Black and White did that too.
Black 2, White 2? Because
No,
isn't the
both.
first Black... Oh, wait, no, the first Black and White, you don't even battle the champion because Getsus shows up.
But you still can do the
Yes,
Elite
you're
Four
right,
in any
yeah.
order because they have
Yes.
like the 4 doors.
But yeah, the original Black and White, you don't battle you battle Getsus instead, and then if you go through the Elite Four again, then you get to battle Alder. Yeah, so Black and White did that. My mistake. But yeah, that never like, I don't know, like maybe you guys can speak differently, but I would walk into like X and Y, or I walk into Sun and Moon, and I would be like, I'm just gonna go left to right because I don't like. Does it really matter if I start right to left? I mean, like I gotta battle them anyways.
Yeah, it matters because whoever your worst matchup is, you want to go against first while your Pokemon are strongest. And then, because you walked in with like 1,000 full restores.
Isn't that what
max revives?
That is true. Like,
no.
If you choose to not prepare or not revive, like there's a complete validity in wanting to do that, right? Like there is the person that is like they go into a gym, they battle like the two or three NPCs, and then they leave the gym and then they heal and then they come back in and then they fight Lieutenant Surge at full health and they go, "Oh, that was easy." And it's like, "Well, you made the choice to leave the gym and heal. Like, you could have just challenged him after battling the 3 NPCs, and it probably would have been tougher. But you made that choice. The game didn't tell you you needed to do that. Just like the game doesn't tell you you need to use X items, you need to use potions, you need to use revives. You can choose not to use them. Like there was like a person on Twitter saying like Pokemon games are so easy, and I do hate that argument because like again, if you feel like you're over leveled for a battle, no one's telling you to bring these Pokemon in. Like you can box them, and the nice thing about Pokemon games is you can box them at any point. You can throw them in the box and grab different Pokemon. You can go out and catch new Pokemon. Don't know if anyone knows this, but in a game with 400 Pokemon, you have plenty of options. Like you don't have to use the same 6. But I think that's the nice thing about these games is they do allow you to do what you want. If you want to challenge Lieutenant Surge with 6 Pokemon, you can. If you want to challenge Lieutenant Surge with 2 Pokemon, you can make that choice. Like the game doesn't force you to do that. The game might say like, in Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, you have to show 35 Pokemon caught to get into Erica's gym. Like, yeah, they're forcing you to catch some Pokemon to like, hey, play this part of the game, please. But like when you get there, your freedom of choice is back. It's just like they're using that as like a key to get to the next area. So yes, Will, you're correct. If you were like in the Elite Four and you were like, I want to make this harder, and because I don't want to use potions or I don't want to use revives, I will do my worst matchup first because I don't want to do it last. There's complete validity in that. I do agree with you, yes. That would probably also add more variety to like a Nuzlocke challenge as well if you were like...
Oh, totally. Oh, man. Nuzlocks in this region are going to be nightmarish.
Yeah, so I guess
Absolutely.
For a Nuzlocke, if your first Pokemon was Fido, you're probably like, I'm going to go to the dark type gym because I have the advantage there. And hopefully by the time I get something else, then I could go to the steel type gym where, Fido wouldn't be that great.
Yeah, that's part of the strategy.
So I changed my mind. I take it all back. Seems it's a better game. 10 out of 10.
Great.
We're probably missing news. The last thing I'll say here is if you do pre-order this off PokemonCenter.com, one, expect it not to arrive on release day. I think, oh boy. I streamed these games on Twitch the day they launch, and the amount of people that are like, game's not here yet. I pre-ordered Legends. It's not coming till Monday. Pre-ordered Sword and Shield. Delayed 2 weeks. Pre-ordered Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. Still not here yet. If you want the pre-order bonus for Scarlet and Violet, you do get a unique backpack. That's your pre-order bonus. We don't know what it is for GameStop. We don't know what it is for Amazon. We don't know what it is for Best Buy. If you want the in-game backpack, not an IRL backpack, in-game backpack, pre-order from Pokemon Center. If you want to play the games on launch day, I would not pre-order from Pokemon Center. Maybe pre-order the physical copy from Pokemon Center and then download like the digital copy for yourself. Like, I don't know, maybe, do Scarlet physical, Violet digital. It's hard, right? Because some people don't want to buy both copies, but they want the backpack, but they want to play on launch day. All I'm saying is Pokemon Center has not been reliable for the last 3 games. So, take that with what it is. Yeah, I think that's all the Scarlet and Violet news that we have. Again, we're probably missing something. I'm sure when Greg comes back, he'll have things to say.
Mm-hmm.
They real quick for other stuff in the presents. They Cafe Mix is still out there scamming you. You can get Mewtwo, Latios, I believe they're added to the game. They, for some reason, spent 3 minutes of the 20 minutes talking about the World Championships. Like, they're really hyping it up.
They revealed that Pikachu trophy.
The trophy? Like, it was like,
well, they're excited to have it again.
Like 6 people in the entire world are going to have this trophy, but they're like, look at this trophy. I expect we will get, maybe a new Pokemon or something at Worlds, which is in about 2 weeks. For Unite, they announced the Pika Party, which is going on for the next month. Also, Buzzwole is now in the game. For Masters, they I guess tricked people into thinking that was like a Heart Gold Soul Silver remake for a hot second, even though like Masters players were like, if there's one thing as a Masters player, they love the heck out of Red. They will give that character so many different opportunities, and they just love that Red character. So they showed a short trailer for Masters, and then, the 3-year anniversary is coming for that. Still not a lot of details on that. And then for Pokemon Go, they were like, hey, Sapporo is happening this weekend. International travel still not allowed unless you go in a travel group that wouldn't let you go to Pokemon Go, or unless you have specific business, which...
Yeah, my specific business is Pokemon Go.
My specific business is giving Mr. Pikachu as much money as possible. I would like to visit your country. So that event happened, which reminds me, after this podcast, I gotta go catch a Hoppip to finish that collection challenge. But I think that's it. So no Greg, no question of the week. Will, Pokemon of the week.
Last week's Pokemon of the week, it started out, it's a 7, but that's the sum of the 2 other numbers that make up its national dex number, which are also primes. So clearly it's either 527 or 257 if you were paying attention. And its name sounds like the other Pokemon of which it was made in interpretation, and so far, unlike that other Pokemon, it does not have a 3rd evolution, but you also need high friendship to achieve its final evolution.
It's Woobat.
Blaziken.
No, Blaziken doesn't sound like anything and is not an interpretation of any other Pokemon. It is Woobat, correct. Congratulations.
But it was 257.
Well, then I guess that wasn't the right one.
You had a 50-50 chance there.
Why did you pick Woobat?
Why are we calling it Woobat? Is it not Swoobat?
Oh, is it Swoobat?
No, it's Woobat.
It is?
Yeah.
What's Swoobat? Is
528.
528.
All right. Sorry,
You're off
my
by
bad.
1.
Dang.
Zubat leveled up with high friendship, yes. Is there any trivia here? Probably something about parallels with Zubat.
Has that cute
Woobat
little
evolutionary
pink
family has similar similarities to Zubat. Both members are called the Bat Pokemon. They live in caves or other dark places. They both have no visible eyes at their respective unevolved forms. Furthermore, members of both lines respectively evolved by forms through friendship. They both have similar shinies, green main. Like that's a bad trait. Like every Pokemon has green shinies. Woobat and Zubat also have somewhat similar English names, both rhyming with prefixes of bat, and bat as the suffix. Woobat was first seen as concept art from Pokemon Black and White, along with Servine, Dewott, and Axew. Wait, what happened to Pignite? Was Pignite not shown in this group of concept art?
I guess not.
Carl, a character in Zoroark Masters of Illusion, wears a baseball cap with Woobat depicted on it.
I want that baseball cap.
As Woobat's official art was revealed 4 days before the movie's release in Japan, the reveal of Carl's design was the first time Woobat's existence was hinted at. Do you think one day Zubat will evolve and like match Crobat? Because they have so many similarities, but like that's the one thing they don't have.
It's tough because they already did the evolution by friendship.
Yeah, they already did the friendship Evo. Also, like they need to retain some of their unique snowflakeness. You know, they can't be exactly the same.
Tell that to Sock and Throw.
Are you ready for this week's Pokemon?
Yeah.
All right. No one knows yet if it will evolve, but I suspect this Pokemon will evolve into a Pokemon called Beagle, spelled Beagel.
It's Ice Cube.
You can't.
we just solve it at the end of the episode, so no one has to wait till next week.
If you get it, you get it.
All right. Well, thank you for listening. Thank you for making it to the end. If you did make it to the end, we need a secret word. What's our secret word for the Twitch people?
What did you call bead? Bead flop loop?
What did I call Bead?
Did you call him Boggle or something?
Beeble.
Come into Twitch and say Beeble.
Beeble. Got it. That'll be our secret word. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode. I didn't say this, but if you're watching on YouTube, please
smash that like button.
Subscribe, all that stuff. Trying to get to 50,000 before the end of the year. Ultimately, we're at like 33,000 on YouTube, which is awesome. Those YouTube shorts really bring in the people. They're bringing in the subscribers, and they're bringing in the people that hate that I spent $100 on a metal Pokeball, People they're so mad about it. They're very upset that I bought the metal. I like I like it. They're just jealous they don't have a metal Pokeball in their life, is what it comes down to.
And you've got 8 of them, 2 more, and that's $1,000. Go on.
Just don't. Well, technically, I didn't buy one. One was a gift, so I'm only $700 in debt.
3 more, and it's $1,000.
If you are watching on YouTube, you can comment your favorite part of the trailer. I would love to hear it. I would love to hear for me. It was raids. The raid thing was huge for me. Maybe for you it was Fido, or it was I don't know, what was her name? The very shy character. I can't remember. Penny. Maybe you were into Penny.
I'm into Penny.
Pengu, you have an art. You sell stuff, and you're on the internets.
I'm on the internets. I do sell stuff. I was working on an Oshawott today. It doesn't have a face yet, but there you go. I sell little crochet plushies. You can find me on Twitter at Pengumon, and the links to everything else is that my shop name is Pengu Crafts. So find me somewhere.
You got to fund that higher education somehow.
I might have the funded cohort next year, so gotta pay rent somehow.
Oh man.
Will is at Wash in the Sink. I'm at Dragging a Lake. I'll be streaming on Twitch this week. Twitch.tv/PKMNcast. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all the same. Thank you guys for listening. We will see you next week. This is another episode of the Pokemon Podcast, and we are
super effective.
Super effective.
You're allowed to agree. Yes.